So, Square Enix has transported me here to Hamburg to get a little taste of Just Cause 3 ahead of E3. Actually, you're watching this on the first day of E3, I think, because everything is embargoed and that's how the business works. Anyway, I got to play a dev build of Just Cause 3 today, and I have to say I walked away pretty impressed. Yeah. Now, first off, you're the content producer.
That's right.
So, I mean, what does that entail, and how are you actually leveling up from Just Cause 2?
So on the content producer side, I'm responsible for all the missions, the challenges in the game, the towns, the bases, the world building, the environment. Pretty much anything that Rico can do or play or see, I'm responsible for producing in some way.
Okay, I mean, I know you're not talking a lot about the story here yet, but is there any details you can give me? I know, I mean, it's Rico's going back to his to the place where he grew up, and of course he's toppling a dictator.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So something new that I can give you. I'll tell you what. With Just Cause 3, I think we want to dive a little deeper into who Rico is, and that's where I'll leave it. We want to get to know Rico a little better than we've gotten to know him in the previous titles, and I think we accomplished that in Just Cause 3.
Yeah, and I have to say, during the playthrough, actually, like, I'm hovering in a helicopter, shooting down a satellite dish, and then he starts humming, and he cracks one-liners. Yeah. It actually gives him a little bit more character.
We want to put more emphasis on Rico as a person, his sense of fun, his sense of adventure, and we also basically want to give the player a reward for when they've done something that Rico would do. So he'll say something like, I think when you topple a Duravalo's statue, he goes, "Timber!" Yeah, so we have stuff like that.
Now, in terms of content as well, every town seems to be a bit different. Every, military base, it has its own features. And I, of course, only played in Region 1, and this is a huge world that you're creating here. So, I mean, it must be a challenge to not only create all of that content within this huge world, but also keep it, running smoothly.
Yeah. And that is thanks in part. No, that's a thanks in total to our great tech and engine team. They've helped. They've given us the tools, specifically the terrain tools, to quickly build a world that's fully integrated. Those military bases that you've seen, those towns you've seen. We're able to build that at a pretty quick and efficient, functional pace, and that's thanks to the tech and engine team. And that was just a big part of the process of building the game for us.
Now, you do something really cool, I feel, when you start out the game. It starts off with Rico like sitting on a car or somewhere in the environment, and you just press play, and he stands up and plays immediately. No loading screens, no nothing. With this huge world, are there going to be loading screens, or are you just going to be able to travel wherever you want without any...
So I'm pretty sure that the only loading screens the player is ever going to encounter is when they're accepting a challenge or a mission for the first time, or when they're fast traveling. I think those are probably the three isolated moments where the player will experience a loading screen. Beyond that, once you start the game, you can go from one end of the game to the other and never see a loading screen. Everything streams in procedurally. So something we're pretty proud of. We want to keep you in the game for as long as possible, for as much as possible.
Perfect. Now, final question to wrap up. Just Cause 3 and Just Cause franchise in total is all about the open world, it's all about destruction. So can you kind of describe your personal favorite destruction that you've combined with explosives and...
Oh yeah, this is easy. So I think about a month ago, what I'd done was, we have the Duravalo statue that's in every oppressed town. So what I did is I chopped the head off with a vehicle. I smashed into a vehicle into the statue, and then it loosened the head. So I took a helicopter, dual tethered the head to the helicopter, but I didn't stop there because I wanted to create a wrecking ball, but I wanted to create something pretty unique. So I went to other towns and found other statues, destroyed the head from the body, and dual tethered those heads as well to the base of the helicopter. And I had these three floating dictator heads that were creating this like whirlwind of destruction in a military base while I sort of levitated in my hovered in my helicopter. And that was probably the most creative thing I've done so far. But I'm not even creative. I'm a producer. We've got designers that are way more creative than me, and they can do even crazier things.
Perfect. Now, one that just popped into my head, I know I said it was last question, but one more. of course, Just Cause 2, the multiplayer mod was huge. Also with the, well, basically, you're not doing multiplayer as of now. Is there any plans in the future to expand that or give away tools to another mod team and keep the tradition going?
Yeah, it's a question I expect. We all expect it. And it's not that we're not doing multiplayer. We're just not doing the cooperative multiplayer, the hub-based stuff. We're doing an asynchronous version. I don't know if you noticed during the demo, but I was wingsuiting, and there was sort of like this UI that was measuring how far I'd been wingsuiting. And that was actually measuring against other players in the room that were also wingsuiting. So there's sort of this constant asynchronous multiplayer component of the game. So I can be destroying chaos objects, and if I destroy them in a certain way at a certain speed, I get a certain time, and if other players want to compete against that, they can. My other friends, they can. And that's one facet of the asynchronous multiplayer. And then we have the more structured asynchronous, where I can do a challenge or a crash the bomb challenge or a wingsuit challenge. And when I do that, I have a score that's recorded on an online leaderboard, and it's compared to a friend who, say, I don't know, might have been working late that night and couldn't play with me, but they can play the same challenge that I played, get scored, and we can begin to compete in that fashion. So we have that. And as far as the modding community goes, I mean, we love those guys. I mean, they helped the longevity of Just Cause 2 in ways that was remarkable. So if down the road, once we, obviously our focus is going to be on making the best single-player sandbox experience ever for Just Cause. If down the road, when we're done and we get to the finish line and those guys want to jump and start making some crazy awesome mods with us, for us, that's great. That'd be really exciting.
Perfect. Now, yeah, platforms and release date. Details for the people. When can they play the game and on what platforms?
So the only thing that I'm allowed, because I got that guy from PR staring at me right now, the only thing I'm allowed to say is holiday 2015 is what we're looking at for Just Cause 3. All platforms.
Yeah. PC, Xbox One.
PC, Xbox One, PS4.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
It was great. It was great meeting you.
Just Cause 3.